Hey guys, what's up? Get off the grid guy. Today we're going to be taking a look at container growing, and not just container growing, but more specifically, growing plants in a 5-gallon bucket. Now, I love 5-gallon bucket growing, and there's a bunch of different reasons for that. One of the first ones is it's a deep pot. Growing things in a pot, can go well or not depending on the pot itself. Some pots do hold soil but are too shallow to allow your roots to fully develop, which will make your plant grow not very good. So I like 5-gallon buckets because they're very, very deep if you fill them up to the top. And if you drill some good holes in the bottom to allow for proper drainage, they will produce great plants. We are looking here at some Carolina Reaper pepper plants, and I've got these 2 plants per 5-gallon bucket. Now I know the experts will tell you only grow 1 plant per 5-gallon bucket for things, like peppers, tomatoes, etc., etc. And typically I would agree. However, it works really well with 2 plants on pepper plants. Tomato plants obviously get very big and their roots are extensive, so you would only want to use 1 tomato plant in a 5-gallon bucket. But peppers, however, do really well with 2 plants in a 5-gallon bucket. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of how I prune them or trim them back, but I do come in and cut off some of the side branches or suckers, whatever you want to call them, from time to time on my pepper plants. However, I have not done that with these 2 because I wanted to show you that you can put 2 pepper plants in a 5-gallon bucket and just let them go and do their thing, provided you feed them with some nutrients or whatnot. So these are growing Carolina Reapers, and they are just starting to bloom really well. Check my channel if you want to see some updates on these. I will post them regularly. So these are growing really, really well. They're really thick. The branches are about the thickness of a number 2 pencil, I would say. And they're healthy. You can tell by the color here, these are doing very well. It is late in August when I shot this video. However, now that I'm posting it, it is early September. So you can figure that one out yourself. And what we've got here is these are grown in Miracle-Gro soil. I haven't done anything special. I've tried to keep this as simple as possible for, we'll say, first-time growers or someone that wants results who has no idea what they're doing. So I picked up the soil at Walmart, and it is just Miracle-Gro potting soil. Filled it up to the top. I started these seeds probably 3 months ago, I would say. Maybe 2.5 months ago, in small pots, and let them come up enough to where I could transplant them into the 5-gallon buckets. I haven't done anything really special. I did use a drill bit to drill holes in the bottom of the 5-gallon buckets, and that drill bit was a little smaller than a pencil. Pencil sized would be just fine as far as the thickness goes. You don't want them too big because your soil will start to fall out of the holes on the bottom as you water, and that can create a problem later on in the life of the plants. Also, I've spaced them out just a little bit. Even though these are both Carolina Reaper plants, it gives more room for wind to blow on the leaves, giving the plants more of the, we'll say CO2 that they need in order to breathe and grow correctly. If you are growing different types of pepper plants, I recommend not growing them close together if you're saving the seeds. If you're not saving the seeds, it doesn't really matter that much. But if you plan on saving your seeds, remember, if you grow them close together and you've got a jalapeno over here and a Reaper over here, you're going to have jeepers when those seeds grow, meaning you will have a cross-pollinated pepper, and those seeds will then grow a plant that is not quite what you were looking for if you were planning on later growing your jalapenos or your Reapers. You'll have some kind of cross. Pepper plants are good like that. They will crossbreed with just about any other pepper plant within range. So bear that in mind if you're trying to grow multiple species and save seeds. Now, I have got some bamboo stakes. You can see here staking these up because it gets kind of windy back here where they're growing at, and I don't want them to break or fall over. This also helps to take some of the stress off of the plants as the wind blows, which again keeps them healthier. You can see the top here where the new growth is. You've got that light green color that just signifies that the plant is growing well, it's getting the nutrients it needs, and it's not going to have any problems later on down the road, which is really, really what you want. So again, we've got them pinned up on most of them. This one doesn't have any stakes, and again, that's optional. I'm just trying to see if it creates a big difference. I will say this, the one that I've staked up a little bit appears to be growing a little better. I don't know, same soil, same bucket, same holes, same everything. However, the one that has support seems to be getting taller faster. So who knows on that one? Mother Nature is a mad scientist. So maybe the stakes have some role there, maybe they don't. But as we can see, this is a broadleaf plant, the Reapers that is. More of your pepper plants, jalapenos, lipstick peppers, etc., kind of tend to have smaller, thinner leaves, but the Reapers and the Ghost I found usually have a big, fat, broad leaf, which is fine. However, if you've got two of them in a pot, the larger the leaf, the less light gets below the canopy of the plant to the smaller branches underneath, which means less fruit. So at some point I will come back and trim some of these large leaves off so that more light can reach to the flowers underneath, hopefully producing more peppers. Really, that's what I'm after here. So again, these are growing in a 5-gallon pots. I haven't added any other nutrients to them yet. So for the last, we'll say, month and a half to 2 months that they've been in the 5-gallon buckets, they have been eating nothing but the Miracle-Gro soil that they are in, which appears to be working just fine. I know a lot of people will say, well, that won't provide enough nutrient for these to produce well. I have never ever found that to be the case. So far, these are doing very, very well. However, I will probably start introducing Miracle-Gro food, we'll say, or fertilizer, if you will, in the next week or so for the next close to a month while it's producing peppers. And that is just to make sure that the plants have everything that they need. I will not be going beyond the recommended dosage or guidelines specified by Miracle-Gro because I don't want to burn them or stunt their growth or anything along those lines. Too much of fertilizer is a bad thing. And since these are doing pretty well so far and the peppers are setting, I'm not getting a lot of drop off, I'm just going to keep letting them go. Now, if you're new to growing pepper plants or you've grown them for a while and you have what's called a flower drop or drop off, it just basically means your flowers don't set fruit, they don't get fertilized, or they just fall off the plant for whatever reason. Don't panic about that. Every pepper plant will have some level of drop off where it just drops off some flowers. They don't get fertilized or they don't have enough strength to grow them. That is totally normal, okay? Every pepper plant I've ever grown has had a decent amount of that, and I have grown some pepper plants in the past. You can see them on my other videos with plenty of peppers on them. So that's not something to worry about. It's just normal when you're growing pepper plants. Not every flower gets pollinated. Not every flower blooms into a pepper pod. So, moving right along here, I will say this about growing in a 5-gallon buckets. As far as watering is concerned, depending on the climate that you're in and the humidity, I only water these about, we'll say, 1 gallon of water every 7 days. Now, that's not a lot, but you don't want to overwater any plant. Every plant really likes to get its roots good and wet and then have them drain off completely, unless they're growing in a hydroponic solution, but that's entirely different video. So water these about once a week, and that will allow the water to drain out. I usually will stick my finger in there every 2-3 days and make sure, you know, that it still feels semi-moist on the top. So remember, the top of your 5-gallon bucket soil can feel really, really dry. However, because it is a deep pot, the bottom can still be very wet and very saturated. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't, you know, water it every day or every other day thinking, oh, well, the top of the soil is dry, so they must be thirsty. That's not the case. Just watch your plants, look at the leaves, and let them tell you what's going on. If the leaves are wilted and seem to be drooping an awful lot, it may need some water. However, if it's 90 to 100 degrees outside and the leaves are drooping and wilted, it may just be because it's hot. They may have plenty of water down in the roots. So watch it that day, watch it that night. And the next morning when you wake up, look at the leaves immediately before the sun starts baking your plant and see, are they still wilted and droopy? If they're not, that means the roots have plenty of water and have sent water back up the stem to the leaves, and it's doing exactly what it should do in nature in order to grow your peppers. If it still looks a little bit wilted and withered and the leaves are kind of drooping down, you need to add some water to that pepper plant immediately. I recommend that that's a good time to water, and that's really the best way to tell, because in the hot sun, pepper plants' leaves will droop a little bit. They will look less healthy. They won't be as full and thick and plump as these are. They'll kind of be falling down a little. That's a really good indicator that you need to add water. So basically, that's how you grow in a 5-gallon container. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more information. Thanks for watching, guys.